Merci. Bon après-midi, tout le monde. I'm going to do this in English and in French. If you have questions, please ask them in French if you feel more comfortable. In French, I feel more comfortable in English, mais je peux entendre que les questions que vous avez à poser. Alors, pop. Here are the rules for this afternoon, for this session of 15 minutes. So it is extremely interactive. Interrupt me at any time. Whatever, if you have a question, if you want to throw something or whatever, go ahead. As said, I will do it in 2 languages. Je vais essayer. Je n'ai jamais fait ça en français. Alors, bear with me. You don't need to take notes, because I will give you all the slides afterwards with all the URLs, hyperlinks, and so on. So you don't have to take any notes. You can just look at it, and afterwards you will be sent the entire presentation for your comfort. If you have a LinkedIn account, who has a LinkedIn account? Please install the app on your smartphone, because you will need it later. I encourage everyone, j'encourage tout le monde de s'assier là-bas, mais si vous préférez vous assieds là-bas, pas de souci, mais c'est très visuel. Alors vous allez manquer, je crois, un peu de... Okay. Your choice. So please install the app from your app store, and you will need it later, because I have a great tip for you. A disclaimer, all the companies that are mentioned here, I do not own stock or participation or whatsoever. Unfortunately, I do not own any stock in one of those companies mentioned. First of all, the disclaimer. So I have a question for you. Who has kids or nephews or relatives that are in the age from 8 to 15? No relatives 8 to 15? No? From the people that raised their hand, how many of them can drive a car? Combien c'est? Oh? De 10 ans? 11 ans? Ah, ok. Okay. Alors, les enfants ne peuvent pas conduire la voiture à cet âge. Mais, they can learn it from YouTube. Like this person, this kid, who was only 8 years old, who got hungry. There wasn't anything in the fridge. Parents were asleep. And so he asked his sister, let's go to the McDonald's. And he said, how are we going to get there? I will drive a car. I don't know how to drive a car. Yeah, but look at YouTube. There are tutorials how you can drive a car. So he looked up YouTube, and he said, okay, this is not too hard. He got in the car, and he got stopped over, but not because he was driving dangerously. He drove perfectly, no errors whatsoever. He drove to the McDonald's and back. He didn't make any errors at all, but it was just because he was so small that the police stopped him and thought there was something funny about it. So that is a bit the red line of today's presentation, and that is to unleash your inner Fifi Brin d'Acier. Who knows Fifi Brin d'Acier? Okay, good. In all other languages, it is Pipi Langkous, Pipi Longstocking, and so in French, of course, they had to change the name for obvious reasons. And one of the things I want you to remember is that this text that says here, je ne l'ai jamais fait avant, donc je pense que je peux le faire. Alors, I've never done this before, but I think I can do it. Please stick that in your head, because all of you can do fantastic things. You already do fantastic things. We can do even more. And I will show you why. And also show you why this is my favorite quote. Because that is me, and I wear many hats. I grew up in a maison de repos of my mother. And this is me. I don't know which age I was. And I never studied very well, admittedly. And I studied everything on my own, without going to school. So I managed to overclock computers and disassemble them and reassemble them, because back in the days you needed like a fast computer, but it was super expensive, so you needed to overclock them. I didn't have any knowledge, but what can go wrong? Just try again, make it run faster at an event. And then I started a care home. And yeah, this is your typical care home. It's a lot of paperwork, a lot of boring paperwork. It's super frustrating. And also all my colleagues, they were complaining about how boring that paperwork is. And they had to hire people where normally they would hire people to put them at the bedside to help patients or help residents. But now they had to hire people to do dumb paperwork. And I hate paperwork. And it gets even worse when you get the ministry sending you all kinds of stupid things and paperwork to fill in, and it's absolutely nonsense, because you don't need it to increase your quality in your care homes. It's just another way where you spend money to extra FTEs. Yeah, please. Oui. Non, en Belgique. Je suis désolé, mais nous sommes absolument champions du monde. Oui. Mais en France aussi, oui. Oui. Et ce sont des tâches inutiles, et les gens, les résidents n'en profitent pas, je crois. Ouais. Okay. Mais merci for saying it. So it's a lot of frustration, and thank you, because you made it clear. That is my face, because I really hate, I get so frustrated. Again, also because of colleagues. Colleagues are also frustrated, and they spend like thousands of euros on absolutely useless technologies, useless paperwork, and but good news is that I can help them. And I started early, and I developed all kinds of software for my own care home, and this is pre-2000, so I used Microsoft Access, and then I used SQL database to put behind it. And I don't have any degree in informatics or whatsoever. I just looked at the internet and see what I could learn there, and how I could copy-paste things from other industries, and I put them in healthcare. I also made a portal for all my employees, so they don't need to look for papers in large closets. So they can just search for it, and they find the information that they need. Also a scheduling application, this is 2007, where I could schedule my employees when I was on the road somewhere. And it's very easy to use. It looks like an Excel spreadsheet, but it is web-based, and it's very intuitive for all staff to work with. And I always use my staff to co-develop stuff with. So I do like the stupid work to like put everything in ones and zeros, and they give me the input like, you should organize it that way and use those colors. And if I go over the a certain field with a mouse, so you hover over it, it should display another color, because that is meaningful. So, and then you just make it, you just listen to it, and then you have good tools. Another application was mentioned this morning in the panel. So those are the tablets that we use, the iPads in 2014, and everyone runs around in my care home with tablets, with all the information they need on it. Very easy. So they are at the bedside, they need a phone number, so they can look it up. They can look at when the doctor is coming, what the animation program is for the next week. So if a resident has a question, so they can answer it immediately. Previously, what did they have to do? Run around. Do you have information? Do you have information? You have animation, you have the doctor's appointments, you have medication, so they have to run around. And well, they have all that information at their fingertips. Again, I'm not a genius whatsoever. I just look at YouTube and look for information. It's always the employees that give me the right input of what I should develop. This is one of my favorite quotes. It is, you can it's intelligence artificielle. You can change that by just technology. It's not because of the technology. It's just about how we can help people, how you can have more empathy for your residents and do away with all the boring paperwork and so on. So it's absolutely not about replacing a human being, because that's what is the answer that I get most, like, okay, we hire you and then you are going to make things more efficient and automate and then we can fire people. So no, absolutely not. I come to automate things and listen to people, and then afterwards there's more room for interaction, where people that studied as a nurse or a care aide to have that interaction, and not do boring paperwork. Again, it's all about empathy. It's never about technology. And I want to enable all of you to be even better with technology, with automation, with very easy tools. And I will show all of them to you that I know of that might be relevant for your work, in order to increase empathy in your organizations. I see so many organizations still struggling. Welcome, bienvenue. It's an interactive session, so it doesn't matter. Where a lot of work is still done on paper and time is lost, and again, it frustrates me enormously, and that's why I'm giving this session. Okay, so as I said, it's not about boosting productivity. It's an asset, it's an extra, but it's really about boosting empathy. And let's face it, if you want to work in an organization that is, you have organization A and you have organization B. Here, the organization is innovation reluctant, it's all paper-based, you have a lot of inefficiencies, people are demotivated, and they leave your organization because of stress and burnout. Or you have an organization that embraces innovation, that is very digital, that is efficient, that supports or even augments its employees with technology, so give them the right tools. So they are eager to come to that workplace, such a wonderful environment with no paperwork, no frustration, no burnout, and whatsoever. So in the war for talent, it's not only because of efficiencies and empathy, it's also in a war for talent that you find the right candidates and that they are attracted to your organization or your organization because you work more automated. Again, and I will show this. No, this is the last time I will show this. Really memorize this, that you are able to change your organization with simple tools, and you should not be hesitant to try them. Maybe you have never tried them, but what can go wrong? You you can and you should use them. And that's why I compiled this list of tips and tools, and as I said, I will share them with you all later. And it's not about making things perfect, as long as it works. And if you need a hammer, a marteau, and you hit on things and it works, then it's fine by me. First chapter, the most boring one, Excel tips and tricks. Most of you work with Excel, right? If you work in whatever industry, spreadsheets are part of the game. There are a lot of tips and tricks out there, and your first reaction might be, okay, I'm looking at YouTube to find some tips, because Bart said, you look at YouTube, you can drive a car, learn how to drive a car. So maybe for Excel as well. But I have a better solution, because you will look on TikTok for tips. And maybe some of you have never used TikTok, and it might not be your first search engine that you will use, but they have so many great tips, and it's only like 15 seconds or 20 seconds. It's very easy to use, and I will show you just one. Is this one. You know, you get such garbage lists probably, like, and then here's Adam Sandler with a birth date, and then someone asks you, can you put all those in a different column, right? And then you sit there, an hour, 2 hours doing boring work. This can be much, much simpler. Oh, can you play this, please? This is a movie clip. If you click on it, this one, please. So this is how you would normally do it. Yeah, click, 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 boring, blah, blah, blah. So now magic happens. Da, 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 da. Control E. We. So it will be in the notes, so Control E, you won't forget it, but this is how it works. Can you play this one, please? Again, messy spreadsheets, and you have to fix it. Watch this. You use trim. You say a proper formatting. Ta-da! Again, okay, all the columns until they are the right size. Who has done that? I did. But just double click. So we're going doing this again. Double click on the line between the 2 columns and see the magic that happens there. So even TikToks goes too slow. I think the movie stopped. It's at the end. Unfortunate. That's strange. Either way, if you click here on the dividing line between columns and rows, it just puts them all. Okay, can you play it again, please? Or just here from here on? To fix it, we already saw that. But maybe it's good to have it played again. Who has used the Control E? You have? Great. So, lining, blah, blah, blah. No, something went wrong. Can happen. So just click on the dividing line and everything is organized in a great way. Height, width, and you don't have to do that manually. If you love Excel, know that there is a better alternative, and it's called Airtable. And Airtable is good for an inventory. It is good as a form to intake information. You can put images in there. You can collaborate with other co-workers, where you can make all kinds of inventory stuff. You can make appointments in there. It is very, very easy to use. And it also makes it easy to use to put data in a system. So you can make a form out of it, and it organizes it in a beautiful way. That's something that you can't do in Excel. It takes some time to use it, but it goes rather fast. I think everyone in this room, with 1 hour playing with it, you can be much more productive. Paper-based forms, I already mentioned this. There are so many great tools that you can use to avoid paperwork. Survey Anyplace, Wufo, Typeform, Tally, also Airtable, and Google Forms. Most people, if they use some kind of automated forms, they use Google Forms. But there are a lot of alternatives. And also for the other tools I will show you, there will always be alternatives. And it works so well, like Wufo, you can set it up that everyone gets a proper answer or gets an overview of what they have sent in. You can look at how many times someone clicked. You can personalize each field very detailed. So setting it up, it costs like 10 minutes for something easy, 1 hour for a complex form, even with subforms where some of the parts of a form are dependent on previous answers. So it's absolutely not difficult, and it will save you tremendous amount of time. This is an example, it's one of the examples that I showed. It's Tally, and it works like a document, so like a Word document. You just start typing, and you use some of these icons, and your form is made, and it looks beautiful. So it also underlines your organization's professionality. Like if you send like paper or something, so people don't like that. But if you send a beautiful form, people will absolutely love that. I think most people hate email, absolutely hate it. And that is because you work in an organization, you put everyone in CC because you want everyone to know that you sent a message or that you responded, and then someone answers like 3 days later on the second issue, and then someone else answers on that issue directly, and it gets so messed up very easily, and then someone hasn't read it because they're on holiday, and they come back and they don't know what to do. And you all know the frustrations of email. And I have a few tips for you how to cope with that. So most people inboxes look like this. If you have a Gmail account or an Outlook account. So you have many mails. Maybe you have to set up some filters and some flags or whatever, or stars. And each time you open your inbox, you see a list of stars or attachments or tasks, and it's mentally an overload. So ideally, you should work towards an empty inbox always, and it shouldn't be empty as such, but you should, if you will open it, it should look empty. This is just an overview of your mobile app, of your mobile Gmail app, and this is how it looks for me. It's always empty. It's always, there's nothing to see there. There's also no mental overload, and because each time you look at your inbox, it's always, there are things to do, and you glance on them. And you say, oh yeah, okay, oh shit, I have to do that, damn. Oh. And you don't want to look at it. You want to deal with it immediately. And archiving is your absolute best friend. If you have read something that you don't need to use anymore, archive your mail. If you have something that you need to read later on, schedule it later. Do it immediately. So open your inbox and start dealing with each and every email. Say, okay, I've read it, archive it. I need to reread that, or I need to do something with that, but now I don't have time, tomorrow. And you deal with that until your entire inbox is empty. And you can bulk export all your mails, both in Outlook as in Gmail. You can bulk archive them to your archive. Because email is not notifications. It's not messaging. It's a lot of people keep their inbox open just to not lose any email or any message or what. But then again, it's mental overloading yourself. So those notifications need to be turned off completely because otherwise you can't focus on your work. Open your inbox. Maybe 4 or 5 times a day, deal with every single email until your inbox is empty. Archive it, postpone it for a later date, and so on. And try to avoid that mental overload. Again, this is for the people that are as geeky as me. There's an email client where I pay $30 a month for functionality that's basically all incorporated in Gmail. But this one is much better, and I can do everything on my keyboard. And it's called Superhuman. As said, you can do the same thing in Outlook and in Gmail, but this one I feel is much more user-friendly and is very keyboard-oriented and helps me go through 100 of emails, let's say, in half a day or less. So just to prove that I'm not lying, Since I installed it, it's 124 weeks ago, I always succeed in getting my inbox completely empty. And it gets a game, like you open your inbox and you say, okay, I'm going to go through this in like an hour or half an hour, and you just keep ticking and you throw it in your task box, you archive it until it is completely empty. And it gets a little less annoying. If you work in a team, I find this kinds of indication very helpful, where in the subject title you would put some letters in front just to inform your team members what you want to do with it. So for your information, doesn't need any answer whatsoever. So it's just for reading purposes, but doesn't need any action. Then you have not action needed for things that don't need to be responded or even read. It's just it's also pure informative. Urgent, yes, speaks for itself. Some things are very urgent and need to be answered in 24 hours, and then action needed, where you need a response like 2 or 3 days. If you, with your team, you agree on such terms, it makes it also much easier to go through your inbox. I put some optional tip in there. I hate it when team members send me like a hyperlink to an interesting article. Here, you should read this. Why should I read it? And I have like 100 team members sending me this kind of informative things. I really hate it. So why not, if you send something to me, put in the effort to make a small intro or reason why I should read it. I think out of respect of your team members, you should do such a thing. Who receives their newsletters in their mailbox? Okay. The people that didn't raise their hand, how do you read newsletters? Not? Okay. There's a tool for newsletters, and it's also super intuitive. What you create a account with Stoop Inbox, and they create an email account for you, and each time you subscribe to a newsletter, it will be sent to the Stoop Inbox. It won't arrive in your email anymore, because it also is a distraction. You get a newsletter in your mailbox, and what should you do with it? You should read it, but you, in like 99% of the cases, you say, I will read it later. And so right now, your your inbox will be more empty because you use this tool, because all your newsletters will come together, and then you find some dedicated time to say, okay, I'm sitting here in lovely Castres, and now I have time to read some newsletters, and you read them one by one, and it's much easier to keep up with that, and it's much more fun to read those newsletters. Otherwise, they are an annoyance if they land in your inbox. Also, a large frustration for a lot of people is defining a moment to meet. Yes, please? Peut-être, oui. Mais j'ai pas de newsletter. Désolé. I won't annoy you with my newsletter. Scheduling a date where for a meeting or a Zoom or Teams session is the email thread is endless. Okay, I can't next Thursday. No, I can't next Thursday. Okay, when then? And then there's no answer. And maybe Friday then? Okay, Friday. Yeah, only at 2 a.m. Oh, 2 p.m. I can't at 2 p.m. All right, let's stick again. Always emails. But there's a tool for that, and it's Calendly, and it's not the only one. There are several. Doodle, maybe you have heard of those before, where you just say, let's meet. My schedule is free next week, Friday afternoon, and then the week thereafter, the Monday morning, or the Tuesday afternoon. And you just send them your availability. And people, the respondent, they can just say, okay, I look at my schedule. Okay, Monday, 2 p.m. That's great for a meeting. I have time then. So you choose a date, and it sends back a confirmation. It sets up a meeting, and so you have 2 emails, one from the sender and one from the receiver, and you have your meeting done. So Calendly and Doodle. And there are more. In many countries, they have a local version, local language, so it shouldn't take you long to find your local equivalent here. Okay, some tips to win with the competition and win your overload and your busy schedule. And let's start with the first one. And this is the one where I asked all of you to install the LinkedIn app. Normally what you do at a business conference, you have all your business cards and you exchange business cards, and you come home and you have this pile of business cards and you need to type them over in your CRM system or your LinkedIn or whatever, and sometimes you forget, what's this person? And you look it up and okay, it's not interesting to connect. But there's a solution for that. Oh, click. If you have your LinkedIn, and you can open your smartphone, open the LinkedIn app, and I will ask you all to connect with your neighbor or someone near you with a QR code. And there is a QR code hidden in the LinkedIn app, and I will show you where it is. Can you play the movie, please? Ooh. It is here in the search field. So you see my name, you click on it, and then a QR code appears. And then you can show someone your code, or you can scan someone else's code. So, or scan, or show your QR code. Try it. Try it with your neighbor. It works perfectly. Who knew of this trick? Okay, 3 people. Great. Yeah. Some people trying. Excellent. Ta-da! You don't have the QR code? Okay. Can you play the movie again, please? It's in the search bar on the top, and you have to click it once. Maybe you have the web version, but it only works in the app. So if you have the Google app or the iOS app, there it works. And then you see that QR code appear. And I hope you will use it a lot. Okay, next tip. Bloop. Word. There are some functions in Word that not everyone is acquainted to. Not everyone knows how to use it. One of them is to read aloud. So, yeah, you're nodding yes. Why is it helpful? Pourquoi ça êtes-vous Non, mais en français, pas de souci.
Quand je veux, par exemple, mettre sur papier... Quand je veux mettre sur papier un échange avec une personne, un compte rendu, donc du coup j'utilise ça et après je synthétise.
Ouais. Another reason why I personally use it, when I write articles or long emails, sometimes I get a bit blind of what I type. So I might type the same word twice and I read over it. But if you play that read aloud, you just hear the entire text, and you also see mistakes in grammar, you see spelling errors, you see logical errors that you make in your text, and you all have it in your Word version. A second tip with Word is dictate, and that works great as well. And I encourage you all to try it. It is somewhere hidden in the ribbon of Word, and you can just talk to it, and it works astonishingly good. It is just you start talking, and it just puts all what you are saying in text. And it's a real lifesaver. You don't need to take notes, because I will send you the entire presentation with all the images and so on, so then you won't miss anything. Passwords. Okay, yeah. There are so many people, and I won't ask the audience this time with passwords. There's so many people just using these kinds of passwords, and then they say, if I confront them with that, it's much too easy. They say, yeah, but I change it. Sometimes I put 1, 2, 3, and then I put a 4 in there. And then a year after, I put a 5 in there. Hackers. I beat them. But that's absolutely BS. That doesn't work that way. Even putting 2 words together, it's so unsafe. And people it's so easy. So I just use one password for everything. And I cringe. It's so bad. So I encourage every one of you to use password managers. And I give 2 examples, but there are more. And it's so easy. I honestly, I don't know one single password that I use. Not one. And I have over 500 passwords. But like Dashlane and password, they on mobile, because it's synchronized, or on my laptop, they always fill in that information for me. They know, okay, this is this website, then I need to use that password. It works absolutely great. It's 100% safe. The company doesn't, it can't look at the passwords. It is super secure. The only annoying part is that every 14 days you need to put in the master password, and in my case it's very long, and it's always at the wrong moment when you really need something very quick. So put in master password. Oh my God! And then you have to type like half an hour. In my case, that is, and then you can access all your passwords again. It's really frictionless. I think even once you get used to using a password manager, it's faster than typing, because it just recognizes, okay, this is this website, this is the email, the login that you use, this is the password, enter. Super fast. You already use it because you're nodding. Okay, so are you happy? Are you using one of those? Okay. KeePass, okay, that's another great one, because you can also put KeePass on your Dropbox account, and oh yeah, this course isn't for you, sir. If you have tips, join them, because you are already an advanced user of tips. I feel it. This is how I look at a lot of PowerPoint presentations. They are so bad, really. Half of PowerPoint presentations look like merde. Oui, yeah, yeah. It's please, if you want to convey a message, if you are working for a company and you make a bad presentation, it not only damages yourself as an individual, but also damages the reputation of your organization. So, research, like 10-point font. No one is going to read it. And then normally you have someone standing there. Yeah, line 1 and line 3. They have a very annoying voice, and they just repeat what is on the slides. Please don't do that. It is flipping your finger to the audience and saying, I don't give a shit what you think. I'm just going to read out my PowerPoint. And if you fall asleep, I don't care. Also, academics, they love to use some color to make a kind of impression, but they use the wrong font. They use the wrong colors. So it's absolutely unreadable. And then they start just reading what is on there. And most of the times, it's researchers, academics, and so on. Not all of them, but a lot of time. And they want to express their enthusiasm on what they are working on. So they want to tell about it, and it's very, very difficult, so most people don't understand it. So, and then if you then read it out loud, it's so boring. It diminishes the impact that you can have with the wonderful things that are on this slide that are absolutely incomprehensible for me. Red and blue never mix. Sorry, you can look at it. It's almost unreadable, and certainly if it's on a big screen, it doesn't work. Red and blue. I'm sorry, it's in your flag. I know, in your national flag, but it doesn't work. Do white and blue. Do white and red. That's perfect. Blue and red doesn't work. Again, I can show so many examples. It just doesn't work. Nice fonts are fancy fonts are great on print, but not on a screen, not in a PowerPoint presentation. Stay away from it. And yes, it is 2022, and sometimes I get presentations like this. And actually, it is someone who did a print screen of their website and and tried to impress people with it. But Jesus Christ, so awful. Something that you can use for presentations, which is a group tool, it's called Pitch. And I really love that product. I need to collaborate on pitches a lot of the time. And every team member is in here. And I can see what they are pointing at. I can hear them because they are giving comments. So it's in one window that everyone communicates, and that you can see what someone else means. Like, okay, I don't like the text. Yeah, which text? And then I point to it. Okay, that text. Oh, and should we enlarge it? And you can collaborate on that presentation, and everyone in a very short time, and everyone is satisfied how the outcome looks. Right now, how many people are doing it? So you have one presenter that's opening a PowerPoint in Teams or in Zoom, and you are communicating, and it's very awful, it's awkward, and you need a lot of text and explanation before everyone is on the same page. Okay, and that brings me with teamwork. Teamwork, you all work with various people in your team, and you use email, and you know I hate email, and there are better solutions than email, like, for instance, Slack. Slack is a collaboration tool where you can have multiple channels that you can restrict access to, yes or no, where you discuss with your team members on whatever you need to accomplish. You can put task managers in there. You can react specifically to posts that are made in there, and it keeps also your email box much more cleaner and emptier. You can also invite people from out of your company in Slack, and this is a feature I love most, because some of the times there are external parties that need to be involved. You just send them an invitation to join one of those channels, and you can have your chat there. Also save. You can also change, send back and forth all kinds of documents and so on. Again, you can use Slack, but you can also use Notion, which is also, I think this is a movie as well. Yes, it is. It's more than a collaboration tool. You can also put all kinds of information in there, an employee directory, for instance. But you can also have those channels. You can even build a website for your company or your initiative. You have, I presume you have many projects. So for one of your projects, you can make a Notion page and also put it on the internet as a website. But it makes it extremely easy to organize information within your team and put everyone on the same page. Who has used Miro? It's a whiteboard solution. Yes, 2 people. So it's a virtual whiteboard, but it's much, much more You can use it for designing stuff. You can use it for brainstorming sessions. And it doesn't have to be simultaneously. You can put up a board and ask everyone, so put your post-its on there, your thoughts on there. And they can do that whenever they have the time, or they can look at other people's ideas and so on. It's a great tool for brainstorming. It's a great tool to maybe organize a patient journey where you put those posts up, the interaction that your patient, when he arrives at your hospital organization or care organization. So their entire journey, you can map it on there with post-its, with colors, with all kinds of forms. You can also use it to vote, because everyone can vote. Like, say a button is too small. If everyone thinks that that's an issue, they can vote on that. So you can see in your team what should be prioritized. And some people also use it to give presentations, again, on a certain project to illustrate what the flow is about, because it is very visual and it's very easy to convey an idea to a lot of people. This is an example of Miro, so you can see it's much more. You can put images in there, you can put video in there, and you can construct a kind of flow and make it more visual by putting some extra data in there. If you need to design apps, or if you are talking to someone that will build your mobile app, for instance, and you say, okay, wow, what should it look like? There's a tool for that, and it's called Figma. And with Figma, you can make it easier for the designer to build your app. So you can say, okay, this button should be here, this button should be there. You can collaborate with your colleagues. You can collaborate with patients. Like, what should we put where? So you get insight in how an app or a mobile app should look like, and make it easier when you are talking to a developing a company that develop web apps, to what it should look like. And I think it's much better because you really grasp what should be in the app, and you can again convey that to the company building the app. Okay, again, team building, app building. Okay. If this then that is a tool to connect different apps that you use. So you make a bit of a process out of it. So if you have a calendar invite for someone, that it should be put somewhere else. If you get an email from someone from that department, that it should be turned into a task, and so on. You have many flavors of that, like Zapier is something else than if this then that, but has the same functionality. And you can also build internal tools really fast, and you can do that yourself. So again, without any training. And remember Fifi. Just start with it and build your own app. And there's a tool for that. In this case, this is Retool. Again, this list will be handed to you. There are several alternatives to this tool where you can build extra processes, tools, that automate stuff, make more efficient, and so on. Yes, please. It is to connect several services to one another. So if you have an Evernote account, and if you have an email account, and you have a Slack account, and you need, whenever you put something in Evernote, that it should also be put in Slack, and what you do right now is just copy-paste it. In this case, it is automated. You don't have to do anything. And Zapier does the same thing. So you see some examples. If it has if you have an email notification, then it will be sent to Google Drive, or an attachment that is automatically saved in Google Drive, and so on. Tools, we saw that one, all kinds of alternatives. You want to make a mobile app? No problem. There's a tool for that. You want to make a web app? there's a tool for that, and there are many of them. So you shouldn't look very hard, or even a tool that has an incorporated chatbot in there, and you can all make that yourself. You don't need to consult someone else. You can make it in your own company, on your own in your company time, and it's not hard. Even I can do it. And to demonstrate how easy it is, this is Glide. And if you have a Google Sheet, which is a spreadsheet, you can create an app specifically for that. Or a chatbot. How's my time going? Finished? Okay. These ones will be in the slides as well. If you work in healthcare, you can even create health applications in less time. And it's GDPR and even sometimes FDA approved. So you can use them perfectly safe, design everything that is, design an app, build it, that's compliant with all legislation. And it's not the only one. HealthBlocks does that too. I'm not going into this. I wanted to learn everyone SQL in 5 minutes, but I will skip that because of the time. I will save you from that. And this is the last one. All the tools that you saw in the last part for building, they are gathered on one page, and it's called no-code point tech. So that's an easy one if you need to look for information. So, and then we are going to make a rocket next year together here on the field. Okay, thank you very much. If you have questions, shoot later on.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's just how do we get your visual support?
Which?
You said that we could have your visual support.
I will ask Jan.
And
I will send.
I wanted to know how, because it was very, very interesting.
Okay, thank you.
That's a good question. I don't know yet, but
it's a question for Jan.
So, okay.
There is a tool for it.
Okay.
Absolutely. Jan, I will send you or someone else.
Yes.
I will send we'll send it in PDF form, and you can consult it later.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you want me to put my email address on there, or?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I'll do that.
Est-ce qu'il y a une dernière question? Parce qu'en fait, on va commencer la conférence dans 5 minutes, la dernière. Ouais. Last question. Si c'est pour l'instant.
Est-ce que vous pouvez redonner le nom des applications dont vous avez parlé au début avec la tablette et le téléphone?
One is a scheduling application, so I need to schedule my, but it doesn't have a name. It's something I developed myself. You can't buy it. I was very naive, and I thought I could make a company out of it, but I was running a care home at the same time and a consultancy service. And it was very naive of me to think that I could make a business out of it as a third thing. So it doesn't, it still runs, but it isn't commercially available.
Bon, merci.
Yeah.
Merci beaucoup, Bart.
Merci.